Hey YouTube, it's been a while since I've been online, just been busy. Now for you piano experts, that's G sharp, F sharp, and B natural, okay? And it's in time, it just goes. And then we jump back up to one of the notes we left, and my finger's already there, it's that F sharp. So G sharp, F sharp, B, F sharp. Now look where my index finger is, it's already on D sharp. But it comes a little earlier than you think. Then we're going to jump up to the B natural, and then to the A sharp. So slowly, let me play it for you. G sharp, F sharp, B, F sharp, D sharp, up to the B, then to the A sharp. And in time it sounds like this. Good. So that's the right hand. Now, the left hand starts with the right hand after it plays the first two notes. You play those 5 notes first, and then we'll jump up to a G sharp power chord. So G sharp, that middle of the 3 black keys, and then the D sharp is the top right of the 2 black key group. This happens right after this D sharp. Just listen one time. Then the left hand just goes down to F sharp and C sharp, another F sharp 5 chord. Okay, so the intro is this. And so to isolate the left hand, it's this, it's E, B. In time, G sharp to D sharp, and then F sharp and C sharp. So nice and slow for you. And then tempo. The chords are pretty much outlined by those 3 chords we had in the left hand. Now there's 2 ways to do this here, and I hear both variations inside the recording. The first one is just do exactly what you did up here, but an octave lower. The problem is with that is it sounds a little bit muffled, muddy, I guess you could say, which gives us an okay sound, but we can open it up to what we call octaves. We're just going to play the bottom notes. So E, G sharp, and F sharp in the left hand. Every now and then you'll hear in the piece that he jumps down to the D sharp, back to the E. And every now and then in the recording you'll also hear a B natural thrown in there as well. And we'll talk about those when we get there. But your left hand primarily will stay on E, G sharp, and F sharp. Or if you want to do your power chords, same thing, just an octave lower. Keep those 2 things in mind. Let's move to the right hand. So the right hand during this next section of the piece is playing just chords. It's doing nothing fancy. It's just literally accompanying the singer. Now, with chords, anytime I say that word is we start on whatever note. So if I say E, if I say major, that just determines the quality of sound we're going to get. Happy, sad, I guess you could call it. Major, minor is what we use in music. So if I say E chord, you automatically should think 3 notes. Sometimes chords have 4 notes that are either just repeated notes, like the E's here, or an additional note. Sometimes have 5, 6, 7, 8. In our case today, it's only going to have 3 notes. So E, G sharp, and B natural. That's an E major chord. Only problem is that in the recording he does not play it like this. He plays it with the G sharp on bottom. So it's G sharp, B, and E natural. For my music nerd buffs out there, that's called an E major chord in first inversion. That's your first note of the piece. So your left hand has the power chord, E, B. Right hand has an E major chord in first inversion, G sharp, B, E. Then we move to the next chord. The left hand goes up to the G sharp and D sharp. Well, look at my right hand. We're pretty much on all the notes we need to be on except for one. Your pinky is going to go down to the D sharp. And now we have a G sharp minor chord. So those two notes, those two chords over again. Move the pinky down. E major. G sharp minor. And then we'll move down to our third chord. F sharp, C sharp, the left hand. And then all of the fingers will move down to a new note. The G sharp will move down to an F sharp. The B will move down to an A sharp. The D sharp will move to the C sharp. So it moves from here to here, to an F sharp major chord. So those two chords are G sharp minor, F sharp major. So all together, nice and slow, it looks like this. In the left hand you have E and B. Right hand you have G sharp, B, E. Next chord is G sharp, D sharp in the left hand, G sharp, B, D sharp in the right hand. Then F sharp and C sharp in the left, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp in the right. Slowly it sounds like this. And in time, it's no different. I believe that repeats twice in the recording, and then after the second time, he throws in that D sharp. And listen to the color it adds to it. I'm going to play with the octaves this time in the left hand. Right here. So that D sharp just adds a little bit of color, a little bit of oomph to take us back to our E chord. So that can be vitally important or kind of important too. Now, as he continues playing throughout this, the pianist, you'll notice that on the second chord, sometimes he also moves to the F sharp early. So we get this. And it's just a little 7 chord. It's nothing major to worry about. It's not like the listener's going to miss much. It just adds a little more color, a little more variety. So the second chord, instead of playing the G sharp, B, D sharp, we would play G sharp, D sharp, F sharp, B natural, and D sharp. And then to our F sharp. Now, when he hits the D sharp, he does invert the chord a little bit to get us to a new inversion. So in the right hand, the third time he repeats this phrase, the right hand moves up to our second inversion of E major. So we have E, G sharp, but now the B is on bottom. G sharp's no longer on bottom. And it's the same thing here. When he goes to the G sharp, B, D sharp, F sharp in the right hand. So notice what changes there. So here's the E major chord in second inversion. Now these two fingers will just move down to the D sharp and F sharp, while the left hand stays on that G sharp, and then all of them move to, of course, their new notes in the F sharp chord. And remember, that's A sharp, C sharp, and F sharp. But look at the inversion. It's different from the one we played earlier. He does it several more times. And so after he says "Scared to be Lonely," you'll notice that there's a little piano interlude. It goes something like this. And that's what I want to teach you guys, because I think that's really impressive, and I think you guys will have something to grasp onto a little bit later. Of course, that goes with the chords we've learned before. The cool thing about the left hand is that it just repeats itself the whole time. Whatever it's going to be. Okay, so let's talk about this little ditty in the right hand after he says "Scared to be Lonely." It's just like the beginning. But this time, he wants to keep all of the eighth notes moving. He wants to keep a drive going. So he makes the melody all of a sudden have eighth notes to them. So what I mean by that is, instead of just playing like we did before, we're going to keep trying to have a pulse going. So it's the same exact notes, but this time we just have to have a driving force, okay? So, starts out with the same opening notes, but you're going to repeat the B twice. Up to the F sharp. Now remember that F sharp had a funky rhythm going to the D sharp, so you're going to hit the F sharp twice. D, D, da, that's really important. 1, 2, te. You'll repeat the D sharp twice. Almost every note's going to get doubled. Right there's another one. Beep, beep, do. So from the top one more time. G sharp. And we'll talk about that little thing in just a second. Let's do that one more time. G sharp, F sharp, B, B, F sharp, D sharp. It's kind of the intro, the first part of it. And then it repeats itself, but there's a little, it's what I call a turn, because what's going to happen is you're going to play around with 3 notes, okay? So just listen for me real quick. It's exactly what happens in the piano part. There's also a missing thumb in there that I'm going to show you in just a second to add a little more variety and color. So up to that point, D, 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 do, do, D, D, do, right there. So you hit the A sharp twice, and then you do what's called a turn. So you go down a note, back to the note you came from, to the note above, back down. And then he just repeats the G sharp and F sharp like at the beginning. So the only note we're missing is one thumb on this B natural right here. So it's G sharp, F sharp, B, B, F, F, D, D, B, right there. The octave. So it sounds like this. And at the very end, once you get back to the A sharp, it just kind of skips. D, 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 D. D, 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 D. You can go there, or so that right hand part, it's kind of complicated. The pianist does a great job in there trying to make sure it all works together. So nice and slow for you. The left hand does the same exact thing it's been doing before. Those power chords or octaves, and the pianist likes to play them low to add a little more depth since it's so high, okay? So nice and slow, it sounds like this.